Hey, my name is Jobby, and we're taking a look at the 30MDLX Bumblebee. Yet another non-transforming transformer. What the frick am I doing with another one of these? Oh, I got it for free. You may also notice that my hair is gone. And if your hair is going, which happens to 2 out of 3 guys by the time they're 35, consider Keeps, the sponsor of this video. Keeps is an online subscription service that helps guys like you and me keep their hair. They offer doctor-recommended and clinically proven treatments to fight hair loss symptoms. And everything you need is delivered right to your door. Best of all, the treatment plans are affordable. Usually half the cost of normal pharmacy prices. Your personalized plan comes with unlimited help from a doctor. They're available 24/7. And all of that is from the comfort of your own home. You won't have to visit a doctor's office or a pharmacy. You even get refill reminders, so you'll never run out of the products you need to take care of your luscious locks. Just keep in mind that most customers notice results within 6 months of starting treatment. And also, hair loss is difficult to treat if you're already bald. So better get on this while you still can. Hair loss stops with Keeps. That's an epic line, wish I thought of it. To get 50% off your first order, go to keeps.com/jobby or check the link in the description. That's KEEPS.com/jobby. Open up this piece of cardboard, which might only be included with the promotional sample, and that reveals a really nice looking box with an Autobot shaped window. And for a little background, 30's DLX line consists of officially licensed figures from Iron Man and Transformers. That's really specific. And none of them transform. They got die-cast metal in them and a high price point, mamma mia. But this tiny fella is part of the MDLX line, which I assume means Mini DLX. Makes sense since they're supposed to be smaller and more affordable. Relatively, that's correct. And if you're interested in picking one up for yourself, links in the description. Of frickin' course I had no interest in any DLX figure, but I tolerated them. You know, it would be like if a hardcore Bible thumper had a gay friend. They might like their friend and maybe even think he looks nice, but deep down, fundamentally, he believes that his boy should burn in hell. Happy Valentine's Day. The painting and the sculpting on this figure is amazing. This design is a good mix of the live-action movie sensibilities, and not that garbage, this movie sensibilities, and the G1 design. He's proportionate in a way that a transforming Bumblebee can't really be, unfortunately. And it's got a great amount of detail with a fantastic paint job. Looks like to me that the folks at 30 took full advantage of the fact that he doesn't need to transform, making him look as cool as possible without having to worry about complex engineering, which is why his back is surprisingly kiddly, in a good way. Never mind. This spare tire likes to fall off as much as your hair at age 35. Consider Keeps. So you could just plug that back in, no big deal. The back looks cool. Love that slight silver dry brushing on the metallic colored parts. Really adds to that sense of realism. And for those of you who don't know, dry brushing's just when you get a brush, dip it into some paint, and dry it out on a paper towel, and then lightly go over your parts as to transfer the silver paint onto the raised surfaces. If that explanation doesn't make sense, check out my model kit reviews. And you can see more of that dry brushing on this side panel, which might be a reference to this clusterfuck. And the weathering on the relatively simplistic yellow parts also looks great, but he doesn't look quite war-torn, which I assume is what they were going for. It looks more like an old car that's been left out in the driveway to rot. I'm sure a lot of you quarantine-noids can relate. And while his chest has some clean-ass panel lining and a clean-ass Autobot logo, part of me feels they should have given the car windows a more interesting finish than pitch black. Maybe a slightly foggy clear blue, just to brighten him up a teeny bit more, even though he's mostly highlighter yellow. Clear blue windows would also ruin the semi-gritty, borderline live-action aesthetic, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But the realism stops at the head sculpt, which is joyfully anime-esque, and his eyes are nicely painted with a shiny blue paint. Not shiny enough, IMO. They should get this 30 artist to work on the movies. Fix that bug-faced freak that China's in love with. And who cares if this design's potential transformation would make absolutely no sense? What Volkswagen has that many panel lines? They could just have him explode into Transformium! nothing matters. Check out my previous review if you haven't. The head sculpt might look great, but the ball joint here is way too damn loose. Maybe it's because it's designed to be easily removable. Jesus Christ. That ball joint's as small as my dick. If you decide to tighten it up, exercise extreme caution. You can replace the head with this battle mask / gold bug head. What a great look. The visor is painted with that same shiny blue paint as the eyes, except it's on a larger surface area, which makes it shine a lot more. See, the problem with painting teeny tiny eyes in this way is that from a far enough distance, you can barely tell he even has eyes. Like me. If you're brave enough, I'd recommend employing the technique I used on my Master Grade Blitz Gundam. Huh. It's weirdly quiet after I said that. This is new. I like it though. Anyway, tutorial's never happening. Fuck off. Another stupidly tiny ball joint is in the hand. You can switch out his fist for a pair of open hands and a pair of grabby hands, in which he can hold his iconic pea shooter. Does this thing have an official name? Super faithful to the original design, but updating it to be more realistic. But what is up with this? Is this gonna be a running thing with non-transforming Transformers? You can most likely fix this. Heat it up with a hairdryer for just a few seconds. You don't want to completely melt the thing, but you want to make it moldable. Squeeze the fingers as to tighten that grip, and then immediately dip it into cold water to solidify his new position. But like with all of my highly professional advice, take it with a grain of salt. How trustworthy can I be when I'm almost 40 and talking about toys on YouTube? Living the dream. Guess they couldn't handle the Gotham! The design of this guy isn't the only thing that's quality. The combination of durable plastic and die-cast metal feels quality. Apparently he's also got zinc alloy, whatever that is. Sounds like something you illegally mine in South Africa. Now, I can't really feel the metal with my cold touch technique, but I could definitely see it in the shoulder and hip ball joints, so I'm assuming the die-cast is mostly internal. I'm also a bit confused about his feet and why they're so damn sexy. They don't feel cold at all, but I can feel just the slightest magnetic pull when I put them near this magnetic base, which belongs to a figure that I'm totally not looking at this month. You're in a mecha hell of your own making. But you could definitely feel the metal in the weight. Surprisingly hefty for his size. Like my, but don't expect to work out. Unless you want one ball joint! Looks like you can take a tumble without breaking into a million pieces. Except for the head. Nice. Anyway, ball joint at the head and the base of the neck. Lets him look up and down. Every ball joint can be a swivel. Ball joint at the shoulder, which is nice and tight. And it's actually a dumbbell joint, which should be self-explanatory if you've ever lifted a dumbbell. Since you're watching this video, I doubt it. Allows for a very nice butterfly joint. A full rotation at the shoulder. The shoulder pad moves up, and the instructions recommend you do that before moving the arm out. Bicep swivel. Double bend at the elbows. Watch out for paint chipping. Ball joint at the wrist. And I'm not sure if this is a dumbbell joint. Oh, Jesus. It is, but it's extremely tight. I do not recommend even touching this tiny evil thing. Which is what I call my every ball joint can be. Ball joint at the waist. Yeah. And this ball joint works together with the hinge joint at the chest to form a decent ab crunch. And that reveals this silver panel. Ball joint at the side skirts, which is a very strange situation. Again, tiny ass ball joints that even the instructions advise you to be wary of. Move those side skirts up so you can rotate the leg for a damn good kick. And the legs move back that far, blocked by a lack of butt skirts. Got a thigh swivel, and you could pull down on the hip joint. There's another dumbbell joint, which gets you an extremely beautiful spread. Also in the instructions. Bend at the knee, ball joint at the ankle, and if you shift this ball joint along with the hinge joint, you can move the foot back, which allows him to point his foot down and to move his foot up a little bit. Also in the instructions. Every ball joint can be a swivel, kind of. I'll take what I can get. And you up. This came off a little too easily. Probably should superglue that down. A decent ankle pivot. No sort of extending ankle to allow for a deeper pivot. Great. And the tires at the bottom of the feet can roll. I'm offended. Gonna have to dye my hair bumblebee yellow and call myself... I was gonna say Karen, but that word's a bit burnt out by now. Can we get a new slur for white women? He's pretty fun to play with. Joints are nice and solid. But if the figure isn't going to transform, you might as well engineer some posability gimmicks. Same thing I said in my Banana Force Orion Predator review. I'm not saying this guy is bad because he can't transform, but I am saying that if a transforming figure can be hyper-articulated, there's no excuse for something like this to be lacking in some Marius. But who really cares? The posability here is pretty damn good, a lot of playability. And if you haven't noticed by now, this guy is microscopic. Which isn't a complaint at all. Bumblebee should be small. I love that he's a yellow baby man. Which is what they called me in college. I dropped off for a reason. Side comparison time. Here's Figma Modic Economy, SH Monster Arts Godzilla, Banana Force Orion Predator, third-party Optimus Prime, the Transformers Masterpiece MP21 Bumblebee, Transcraft Beetle. Anyone want me to review that? And the Transformers Masterpiece MP45 Bumblebee, the devil himself. And I would have brought out the other 3 Zero figures that I reviewed, but be honest. You don't give a shit. So I've been pretty mixed about the Bumblebee figures I've reviewed throughout the years. But this non-transforming Transformer is the little bee that could. I like this thing, and I do recommend it. Links in the description. If you don't mind the lack of a transformation, which I still do cry about it. Forgive me! I agree 100%. Rock on, dude. Hey, man. 3-0. I've already got 3 reviews for you. So if you want me to take a look at that Ideon figure, I got you, homie. I swear I won't rip on it for being over $1,000. Next time, we'll be taking a look at Bichutha! Let's keep this non-transforming train chugging.